Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's Frederick. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for your encouragement and welcome to the new subscriber. Thank you for your support and thank you for coming back for the second episode of the French Dead Man Tells No Tale. We are covering the extraordinary story of Francois Camille Abello. Stay with us, we're going to go right into it. Now, in the first episode, we've seen this Frenchman, this pedophile, Francois Camille Abello, being paraded by the Jakarta police following his arrest in a West Jakarta hotel in the Indonesian capital. Now, following his arrest, Abello will be charged for sexually abusing, raping, molesting young boys, young girls. The police during the search are going to find 305 videos on his computer and more evidence will be gathered during the search. Now, it's very alarming because we know that the numbers of kids being exploited, sexually abused in Indonesia is around 70,000 a year. These are numbers provided by the anti-global trafficking network, the ECPAT International. This is extremely alarming and we must investigate. So let's go back briefly to Jakarta. First of all, the arrest of Francois Abello was not spontaneous. It was just not a phone call where the police turned up and caught him in the act. It was actually the result of a 3-month investigation. The Jakarta police was actually surveilling Francois Abello. Now, Francois Abello stayed from December 2019 all the way up to June 2020 in different hotels. Actually, 3 hotels, as a matter of fact. Now, from December 2019 all the way up to February 2020, Francois Abello is recording staying at a hotel called the Olympic Hotel, located in West Jakarta. And then we have another record. It's going to be from February to April 2020, staying at a hotel called the Lumina Hotel, again in West Jakarta. Now, when the police arrested Abello, they gathered, as I mentioned earlier, some evidences. And one of the evidence clearly demonstrates that Abello had a return ticket from Jakarta to Paris, the French capital. Now, the date on this return ticket are the 6th of April. Unfortunately, Abello is going to find himself stranded in Indonesia due to the flight restriction associated obviously with the pandemic, the COVID-19, the coronavirus. So he's going to have no choice. He's going to stay in the capital and he's going to decide to move to another hotel. This hotel is called the Princeton Park Hotel. And again, it is in the West Jakarta region of the Indonesian capital. Okay, so following his arrest, Abello is going to be transferred to a detention center in Jakarta. And then the detective is going to stay behind gathering evidence. As I told you, they will find 305 videos on his computers, clearly demonstrated that Abello has bought new clothes for these kids. These kids are from the street, they need to be prepared, they need to look good, he's going to do their hair, he's going to apply the makeup, and more importantly, he's going to film them. How do we know that? Well, it's simple. They found actually micro cameras placed all over the hotel room. So it clearly indicates that he was filming, and he was filming this kid professionally. This is not the action of a sexual tourism or sexual tourist, if you will. This is someone that is professionally preparing his set to record the abuse. And it becomes even more true knowing that Francois Camille Abello is actually the owner of a studio, of a Photoshop electronic good equipment specialized in photography and videography in the center of Paris. But we're going to look into that in just a moment. Okay, so let's go back to the investigation. The computer shut down. The police is taken by surprise. They're trying to get to the material and they can't. We know from the first video that Abello is uncooperative. They have no other choice to send the material, the computer, to a forensic expert so that they can retrieve the material. The priority for the detective is actually to identify the victims. And they're going to be successful. They're going to identify 17 victims. They are all street kids. And then they're going to go to the press and the police is going to make a statement. They're going to say that it is very, very likely that Abello has abused far more than 305 children. And they know that because Abello was a frequent visitor to Jakarta. He was there since 2005. So clearly, this was not just a one-off, but we're talking here about an industrial operation. So to finish this recap, we know that Francois Camille Abello attempted suicide while he was in detention, in this detention center in the police headquarters in Jakarta. They're going to find him dead with a cable around his neck. They're going to transfer him to the hospital. They're going to stabilize him for 24 hours. And then 2 days later, the official of the hospital, the police hospital, is going to declare him dead. They're going to explain to us that he suffered of a neck fracture that has hindered the supply of oxygen in his body, and then he died of it. Now, this is a scenario that is too familiar, way too familiar. I'll let you draw your own conclusion. But for now, let's take this investigation to Paris. All right, so we are back in Paris. Our investigation is going to reveal very quickly that Francois Camille Abello is the owner of a photo, video, electronic good shop in the center of Paris. He has also a photo studio within the shop. And then we found out that his shop also has an online store. Now, to our amazement, both the shop and the online store are still active, which is quite unbelievable since he was arrested for pedopornographic crimes in Jakarta in Indonesia. Now, the shop is located in 15 Rue de Bagnolet, and our priority is to find out who are the owners, who are the people behind this company. First of all, the company is called Afnd. It belongs to Francois Camille Abello. On this document, you can see clearly that the company has been transferred on the 29th of July 2020. It's about a month and a half after Abello's death. And it's been transferred to a lady called Marielle Deslange. Now, Marielle Deslange is a longtime girlfriend of Francois Camille Abello. So we wanted to find out a little bit more about her, but also about the company. So we rewinded all the way back to 2005 to understand who are the true owners of this company. And what we found out that it is basically that it's a family business. In this company, as you can see in this document, we have François Abello, we got Michel Abello, and then we have Michel Deslange and Marielle Deslange, which are both sisters. So we're going to dig a little bit further. Stay with us. We're going to go into the website. We're going to look into what is on sale on this website and understand really the nature of Francois Camille Abello's business and his associates. All right, guys. So before going on to the website, I'm just going to show you the picture on Google Map of Francois Camille Abello. So as you can see here, it's Rue de Bagnolet, and as you can see, this is not probably the most select street in Paris. It's actually very average, in an average quarter of Paris. This is the name of his shop. It's called PhotoBest. So let's look a little bit inside. We know the address is 15 Rue de Bagnolet. We can see that he specializes in lighting for photo and video professionals. So that's what the shop is specialized in. He rents his studio, as he says, on the front of the house. He's got a video base, which is an online store. We'll go there in a moment. What we found funny as well is that just the first picture when you enter the shop is actually the picture of a young girl. So we found it quite interesting, as you can see. I don't know if I can zoom in. Yes, I can. There you go. You can see that's really a strange choice of picture to put in front of your shop. We found that interesting, and obviously we'll let you draw your conclusion. What I'd like to show you now is PhotoBest. PhotoBest on Facebook. As you can see, Francois Camille Abello. The company's been open since 1996. He's got presence online. What we're interested in is just the fact that he confirms that Afnd once more is the company of Francois Camille Abello. Now let's go straight onto Google PhotoBest. As you can see, we're going to go straight onto this website just to confirm that we are getting our information from the internet. Now, it's just obviously not a sophisticated website. Does it need to be sophisticated? Perhaps. We'll see what kind of clients, obviously, Francois Camille Abello is working with. First, what we need to do here is to look at confirming the contact. So we know that the company that we are looking at is the company that we are interested in. So 15 Rue de Bagnolet, everything is correct. We checked, obviously, the numbers. Everything absolutely matches. What we found interesting here is the fact that the email address we will expect to be contact@photobest.com or contact@photobest.fr. Here in this case, it is photobest@nareem.net. So we're talking about a server. So we wanted to know whose Nareem is, what kind of server they provide, and we went onto their website. Now here we are on Nareem website, and we realized that they actually pretty much basically specialize in supplying dedicated server. Now, dedicated servers allows you to work in a vacuum, and this one is really interesting because, as I say, on the page, you can manage your server remotely via the internet in complete independence, privacy, if you will, and a full root access. What it allows you is to basically upload your software, allow you to do pretty much everything privately, but remotely. So, for instance, we know that he was arrested in Jakarta with a lot of material, 305 video on his computer. What he does, he doesn't need an external hard drive. He doesn't need to go on the cloud. What he does is probably upload everything on his dedicated server, and someone on the other end in France or even abroad will be given access to upload or download the material. And that's very interesting because they work in a vacuum, and I think that clearly shows that this was really handled professionally. Let me go back very briefly to the website. So PhotoBest, as I mentioned to you, this is the studio I was talking to you about earlier. You have a better idea what it looks like. And then, yeah, let me just take you to the online store because this is really an area of interest. So let's click on Video Best. As you can see, a little spy there. So why would they put a spy there? Well, main reason is because they are selling basically spy equipment. We're talking about micro cameras. We're talking about a micro cameras placed on spectacle, on the pen, on lighters, on, I mean, you name it, you know, as you can see there, Wi-Fi camera, lunette, which means spectacle, keyhole, key holder, watches. This is, you know, basically the material and HD equipment that allow you to discreetly film HD quality, and you can place these cameras all across your apartment, your house, and nobody will ever know that you're recording them. So these are extremely powerful equipments, very discreet, and we know they're discreet because you can see at the bottom of the page here, livraison rapide et discrète. In English, it means fast delivery and discreet. So why a delivery of an equipment, photo equipment, will be discreet? It's discreet because nobody wants their neighbors or anybody to know that they are installing private cameras in their house or in their apartment. You remember Epstein? Epstein was a professional of putting literally cameras in every single room of his house in Manhattan, Albria Way, and certainly in the Little St. James Island property. So that's interesting. I think it's definitely show. Why not? Why not Abello providing all this material to Epstein's 22 Avenue Foch in Paris? It's a possibility. And what else I wanted to show you? So let me go back to PhotoBest. What Abello is providing us with is basically an idea of his client base. Remember, the company's been open since 1996, so they've been working with a lot of clients, and this is the list of clients that he wants us to be aware of. So I'm just going through quickly, but as you can see, this is a big list of clients. What's interesting here is that these clients come from many walks of life, different industries. We're talking about the movie industry, the film industry. We're talking about the fashion industry. We're talking about the retail industry, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, you know, you have companies like Europacorp, a company that belongs to Luc Besson, the filmmaker, the famous French filmmaker. Very interesting company. I would, of course, invite you to keep this company in mind because we're going to go back to this company in a moment. He works with television, BFM. He works with obviously the fashion industry. As you can see, you have Cerruti, you get Lacoste, you get different Chloe, and so on, and Hermes. I mean, you name it. I mean, he's worked with big names, and then we can see also work with a publicly traded company like Orange, Dassault Aviation in the aeronautics. So he's someone that has definitely a reputation and is someone that has definitely access. You can see Cartier. I mean, these are big brand. They don't work with everybody. You know, you need to be known, you need to have a reputation, or simply you need to have access. Now, the second part of his client list is very interesting. And the reason why it's interesting is because we can see that now he is extremely strong in the education world. Abello had access to school, which is what we call école in France. So many schools, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even further down, schools. So you have a lot of school that are part of his client list. So that's already an question mark. And then if you go further down, you see that now he's contracted or he has done business with so many college. So I must make a distinction about what we mean by college in France. In France, college means simply a middle school. So middle school, we're talking about kids between 11 and 14 years old. So these are not just like, college, like you would say in the United States or in the UK. So we're talking about minors, very young kids, and he has access to that. And then if you go further down the list, you can see that he's working with lycée. So the translation for lycée from French to English would be basically high school. High school, we're talking about kid between 14 years old and 17 years old. So it's very interesting because we know the rule of thumb for pedophile is mainly to make sure they have access to kids. And what better way but to actually being contracted or have contract and businesses with all these school, college, lycée, higher schools and so on. They get access to that. It's interesting. And we cannot obviously stop thinking that with what Camille Abello has done in Jakarta, how come these guys is being given access to so many of our kids in our schools? That is really, really, really worrying. We're just wondering why the Ministry of Education is not checking up on all the suppliers and all the people that are given access to the schools. That's really, really of a concern. And then, as I said, the spy cameras, as you saw, all this information is interesting because obviously we can make perhaps put the dots together, and maybe perhaps it is a possibility that Abello is actually filming, without their knowledge. He has access to basically the schools. He can put his material discreetly. Nobody will ever know. And then now what you have is perverts from around the world that are given access to pictures in schools, in lycée, in college, and so on and so forth. It's absolutely mind-blowing that this occurring in front of our bare eyes. And the only way we actually get to know about this is because this gentleman's getting arrested on the other side of the world, molesting thousands, not 305 kids, but thousands of children, and he's been doing this for over 15 years. Okay, I think I've just covered the entire website. Let's go back to the investigation, and thank you for your patience because it's a lot of information, of course. All right, so we've taken a look at this website. As you can see, there's quite a lot of information. We can see the clients, we can see so many things. It's unbelievable. It's a great source of clues, actually, and it provided clues to us, but it was not enough. So we wanted to find out a little bit more. First of all, is it the only AFMD company in France? We needed to know. So we went on investigating other AFMD, and we found a company. It's called Ocean Film. It's a film distribution companies. In the 1990s, they were set up in France. They were very well known. They were quite big, and they were specialized in film distribution. Now, it's very interesting because further down the line, we're going to see that the Abello's family is extremely linked to the film industry. Now, what we needed to make sure is if this company was still active, and we found out very quickly that this company went through a liquidation process in 2013, in March 2013 to be precise. Now, we know that this company definitely had some kind of financial difficulties. We've investigated this company for quite some time. We're still trying to understand what will be the potential link with the Abello's family. All right, so we wanted to obviously look into Abello's AFMD. So we're going back to that, looking at the registration of this company, looking at if there is anything exotic in the documentation. And first, we're going to see that this company was registered in 1996. It was registered at the 9 Rue Bagnolet in Paris until eventually AFMD will close on the 1st of September 1998. As you can see in the document, the company now is reopened at a different address at the 15 Rue de Bagnolet, which will be still the current address of this company, and it's reopened on the same day, on the 1st of September 1998. So the question we're asking ourselves is that why does AFMD need to create a new company? And the way we know it's a new company because it's got a new SIRET number, which is the ID number for a company. Why did they need to go actually for a change of ID of the company when they were just moving 3 numbers down the line? So that's really questionable. Were they trying to hide something? Were they trying to wipe out the numbers, the activities of the company at 9 Rue de Bagnolet? We don't know. We're just asking the question because it is unusual. Now, what's interesting to understand here is that Afnd is not just a photo, video, studio vendor. We found out that Afnd is actually a film distribution company. They're registered in France, they're registered in Belgium, and they're part of a European network under the EACA. The EACA is the Audiovisual and Culture Executive Agency of the European Commission. Basically what the European Commission is, they are financing project films. So Afnd now is a film distributors. The first question we must ask ourselves, where are the goddamn films? Where are the films we've never seen, or what kind of films are they distributing? Probably would be a better question. And then the other question that actually begs itself is the link with Ocean Film Afnd. Ocean Film Afnd was a film distribution company, and so Afnd Abello. So these are all questions that we need to answer. We're not accusing anybody. What we're doing is we're putting the dot together, and obviously it's quite puzzling. Now, as investigators, when we are looking into the film distribution, when we are looking into Abello's connection with the film industry or the film distribution industry, something came back to mind. And that's very simple. This is something that actually we covered in a previous video. This is about Gratitude America, Epstein charity, and sponsoring basically a non-profit organization put together by Jack Lang and his team, a former member of his cabinet and a very close friend of Jack Lang, looking for money to make a movie. And they received, I think, about $57,000 from Gratitude America, and yet again, we are never seen any movie whatsoever. So it begs the questions that why the people are looking for financing when at the end of the day, we never get to see the movies. We must ask ourselves these questions because yet again, the film distribution, the film industry is at the forefront of this investigation. All right, so what do we know so far? We know that Francois Camille Abello has a photo shop, a video shop, a studio shop for recording in the center of Paris. When he's not there, he's busy molesting, raping street kids in Jakarta, in Indonesia. Now we know he's filming because there was micro camera in his hotel rooms. There's a lot of evidence that point towards this direction. Now we also find out earlier that he was using a dedicated server that allows him basically and his accomplice to withdraw in a vacuum a certain amount of films without anybody being aware of it. And then the next link is his affiliation with the film distribution industry via a European network, and a potential link with Ocean Film, this film distribution company in Paris, which is no longer active. So in order to put this puzzle together, we needed to obviously investigate, and we started by his entourage, his family. So let's go straight into the Abello's family. Let's try to understand who they are, what they do, and so on and so forth. All right, so let's try to jump straight into the Abello's family. I'll tell you straight away, it's going to be quite complex and a bit confusing. So trying to stick with us. If you have any question, please make your remarks in the commenters box below. We're going to start by his mother. His mother is Berthe Abello. She's known as Betty. She was born Sterenzos. The father is called Wolf Sterenzos, which is a bit bizarre because they are both Sterenzos. How they end up with the name of Abello, we were not able to figure that one out. Were they married within the family and there was an Abello in the family? Everything is possible. What we know is that Betty Abello, or Berthe Abello, is not with us any longer. She passed away about a month after a son died in Jakarta in detention, or in the hospital, as a matter of fact. And then Wolf Sterenzos is a ghost. Now, in the Abello's family, there are 4 brothers. Of course, Francois Camille Abello, but he also has William Abello as a brother. He has Wolf Sterenzos, should be Wolf Abello, but for some reason, or maybe for cosmetic purposes, he had kept his name Sterenzos, but he is part of the Abello's family. And he has Michel Abello. Michel Abello is actually married to Catherine Abello, and they have a son called Julian Abello. Francois Camille Abello has also a sister called Patricia Fleury Abello. And then we know that also he has a son and a daughter. The son is called Vincent Abello, and the daughter is called Marie Abello. Okay, so this is the best we could put together. There might be a few little tricks here that we need to maybe adjust, but this is the overall picture of the Abello's family. And in addition, we also know that Francois Camille Abello, our man in Jakarta, our dead man in Jakarta, had a long-time girlfriend. Her name is Marielle Deslandes. We also believe that she has a sister named Michelle Deslandes. So we know that Marielle Abello, as we've seen earlier, runs the Afnd company, the photo-based shop in 15 Rue de Bagnolet at the center of Paris. And we also, during this investigation, are going to have to prioritize. We're going to have to look at the characters, at those that we feel could be the link to the film industry and then obviously to this pedopornographic business. We're not going to accuse anybody. What we're going to do is simply look into their past, look into their corporate life, and understand the stream, the flow of money. So stay with us. We're going to look into Julien Abello. Julien Abello is the nephew of Francois Camille Abello, and then we're going to see what this guy is up to. Okay, so what we know is Julien Abello actually runs 3 companies in France. The first company is called SRAL Suka Metallec. This is a company specialized in real estate. This company started at 6 Rue Molière in Paris, and that was moved into Rue Mozart in the 16th district of Paris. Actually, funny enough, the same district of the 20th Avenue Foch where Jeffrey Epstein resided when he was alive. And then we know that the Suka Metallec company was a co-ownership in between Julien Abello and his cousin Patricia Fleury Abello, which is the sister of Francois Camille Abello. And she resigned in 2018. So at this moment in time, as I'm speaking to you, Julien Abello seems to be the only owner and manager of this company. Now, moving on to the second company, it's a company called J&A Partners. This is a company that is based 735 Rue de Lieutenant Parère in Aix-en-Provence. Aix-en-Provence, for the French people that follow the pedocriminality, will know that this is a city that has a very, very strong consonance with pedocriminality in France. So that's just maybe a detail, but I think worth sharing with you. And then the third company, it's a company called SCI Du. It was based 8 Rue Molière in Montreuil, where actually Francois Camille Abello was born. And then after a deliberation in 2019, the General Assembly, following the resignation of Mr. François Camille Abello and his brother Michel Abello, it was decided that Mr. Julien Abello, his nephew, will be the new executive in charge of SCI Du. So as you can see, he is at the executive position of 3 companies in France. We know that he started the early part of his career with an internship with a company called the Thysia Group. It's an intermediary between fashion houses and production units company, and it is run by a certain Michel Thysia. But I'm not going to talk about him. We'll go back to him in a moment. So let's move on with William Abello. William Abello is the brother of Francois Camille Abello, our guy in Jakarta. We know he's married to a lady called Shushan Abello Chepachan. Now, William Abello is a set designer, decorator. He creates costumes for the cinema and for the movie industry. Theater, movie, cinema, you name it. He's got a foot in the door. He's well known in this industry. Now, he's got a company called Montcalm Bessin. It's a company that he set up with his mother, Betty Abello, a long time ago. William is also a creator. He created a label called EcoProd. It's a kind of a think tank, a consultancy firm reflecting on how to make movie while respecting the carbon footprint, the environment aspect of production. So that's very creative, very interesting, but we needed to investigate further. So we looked into EcoProd, trying to understand what they were working on, what were they working on, and who they were working with. And then we start to realize that they were actually contracted with a major production company called EuropaCorp. EuropaCorp is a company mainly involved in the production and distribution of film and in audiovisual work. So what's interesting is the people behind EuropaCorp, because that creates a link, and that link is going to give us a lot of information. First, we have Christophe Lambert. Christophe Lambert is a publicist. We know that he was the executive president and vice president, of the EuropaCorp organization, the firm, and the chairman of the company is no one else than Luc Besson. Luc Besson is a filmmaker, absolutely well known around the world for his great film. I even like his films, so this is a great filmmaker. The problem is that Luc Besson has a bad reputation. Some even people call him in France the French Harvey Weinstein. Now, what are the odds that William Abello, the brother of Francois Camille Abello, our Jakarta guy, is contracted and linked directly with EuropaCorp, a massive film distribution company that involve two characters. One is Luc Besson, the alleged French Harvey Weinstein, whose best friend happened to be Mr. Jack Lang himself. Now, Jack Lang, we all know, basically received donation from Gratitude America from Epstein charity. And then we also know that his daughter, Caroline Lang, is featured on Epstein Black Book. Now, the odds, we are beating the odds here, basically. The coincidence is not possible. That's all we're saying. Talking about beating the odds, as we are filming this video, Luc Besson is once more under the spotlight. The press just released an article today confirming that Luc Besson was once more accused of drugging and abusing, raping a young girl. This girl, she's known from the French public. Her name is Saint Van Roy. She's already in the past accused Luc Besson of raping her and drugging her. And today she's reiterating basically this accusation, and Luc Besson is investigated. We know also that 8 more victims are awaiting justice. Unfortunately, it is likely that some of the accusations fall under the subject of limitation. So, coincidence or not coincidence? I think that a lot of names are coming out of the hat, and we're going to be here to tell you all about it. Now, going back to Christophe Lambert, we know that he left the company in 2016, and 3 months later, he would die of a lightning-struck cancer. Now, the question we're asking is, did he leave the company because he was sick? Did he leave the company because he wanted to pursue his long-time dream of being a film producer? Or did he leave the company because he found out that something was wrong with the company? Something was going on in this company that he did not accept. This is a possibility. We are submitting that. We're not accusing anybody. What we know is Christophe Lambert was loud and raised his voice on many occasions, basically pointing the finger at the film industry and the culture of abuse that it encompasses, that he harbored. So we're asking these questions, and the investigation carries on. Moving on, we're going to take a quick look at Wolf Sterenzos, another brother of Francois Camille Abello, our Jakarta guy. So Wolf is a very, very discreet guy. He's very low profile. He's got very little information about him on internet. We just think that his weather has absolutely nothing to do with that, or perhaps he's hiding something. We don't know. We are actually still investigating him. If there is any news, we will keep you apprised. For now, he is a character of interest, but there is not enough evidence to bring him into this video as a potential suspect. So we're going to move on. All we can tell you is that he looks very similar to William Abello, his brother. Now, moving on, we're going to go to the second part of this video. The second part of this video is another side of the family, a side that has been already discussed by other investigators like myself. We'll get into the details in one moment. Stick with us. It's also very interesting. Last but not least, we're going to talk about Patricia Fleury Abello. She's the sister of Francois Camille Abello, a Jakarta guy. Now, she's an interesting character. As you've seen earlier in this video, she's on board of the Abello's corporate world. She's been on board of certain of their companies. She resigned. She's an interesting character because she's linked with many aspects of the family. We don't know how much she's involved with this affair, this pedocriminal and pedopornographic business of a brother. What is sure is that she's linked with an interesting character, a name that keeps on popping up in our investigation. The name is Michel Athias. Now, the name Michel Athias might be familiar to you. We find out via the documentary of F Society or Team F Society that she and he are related from a family point of view. That's what we know, and more importantly, that this gentleman has some link with the Epstein network. Now, of course, if you would like to check out F Society documentary on the Abello's affair, where they link Michel Athias with the Abello's family and the Epstein black book, please do so. However, our investigation always seems to lead us back to the fashion industry, the cultural world, the art world, and the entertainment industry. Now, what's funny is that everything leads back to an era, the era of Paris planning with François Lano. We know Jean-Luc Brunel was a model scout there. We know that Gerald Marie was also a model scout at Paris planning, Claude Haddad, and so on. So the list is quite long. What's interesting is that there was a culture of abuse during that time, and that's what triggered our interest. Now, it goes without saying that after spending hours and hours of investigating Francois Camille Abello, whether in Jakarta or in Paris, it is very unlikely that he will be a big guy in this sex trafficking or into this pedocriminal ring. He played a role, there is no doubt about that, but I think he was a small fish in a much bigger pond. Now, our investigation is taking us back to the cultural world, to the artistic world, to the entertainment industry, and to the fashion industry, where we believe the French head of the snake is hiding. So stay with us, keep your eyes peeled, because we believe that very soon we will be able to provide more information about our findings. And again, we would like to take the time to thank you very much for your support. Thank you for believing in us, and more importantly, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like and comment, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Ciao.